I did not start with the Provincial Treasury, but I know they are here. Let me also welcome you. Thank you so much. And also welcome all the officials from Gauteng Provincial Legislature that are here. The meeting is officially opened. So today's meeting is, maybe before I start, I forgot, I need to declare this as the precinct of the legislature. So I'm going to do that. So I, Honorable Andy Somasai, am the chairperson of the Finance Portfolio Committee, hereby declare that the Taba Eco Hotel as the precinct of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature in terms of Rule 56, subsection 2 of the Standing Rules of the Gauteng Legislature, Version 5, Revision 2, read together with Section 2, subsection 1, and Section 28 of the Powers, the Privileges and Immunities of Parliament and Provincial Legislature Act number 4 of 2004. For the duration of our meetings, this place will be the precinct of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature. Thus, the standing rules of the legislature will apply and govern all the engagements of the day. The precincts of the Parliament or Provincial Legislature are described as follows. The precinct is the area of land and every building or part of a building under Parliament's control, including the chambers in which the proceedings of the houses are conducted and the galleries and lobbies of the chambers. Every part of the buildings in which the chambers are situated and every forecourt, yard, garden, enclosure, or open space are pertinent thereto. Committee rooms and other meeting places provided or used primarily for Parliament's purposes, and every other building or part of a building provided or used in connection with the proceedings of Parliament while so used. Members, do you understand the contents of the room?
Yes, Chair. Yes, Chair.
Thank you so much. So, on the 11th of June 2025, the Portfolio Committee met with Sedibeng District Municipalities. We met to assess the levels and the quality of support that you receive from the Provincial Treasury and the issues that emanated from the engagement included the following, but are not limited to: the escalating utility costs, the municipality debt book, outstanding debts, incapacity, Auditor-General's findings, revenue management and billing system, and infrastructure maintenance and development. So the issues that emanated from that engagement were supplemented with other questions related to the support that Treasury provides to municipalities. So it is against this backdrop that this session affords Treasury an opportunity to respond to the issues that you raised and provide clarity on the supplementary questions that were sent to them. So you are all welcome and the meeting is officially opened. We're going to move to the next item on the agenda, which is apologies, and I'm going to request, is it Tatintani? Yeah, just take us through if there are any apologies.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, honorable members, MMCs, municipality support staff, as well as Gauteng Provincial Treasury. Chair, we received 4 apologies. One is from Member Hicklin. She cannot attend due to other work commitments. Member Gaba, she will be arriving late. Member Mohobe, he will also be arriving late due to attendance of the former Deputy Speaker's memorial. Honorable Uhuru Dikgang Milwa, may his soul rest in peace. And Honorable Sisedinyana is also running late, Chair, but he will be joining the meeting. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much. I think Member Klebere is also on her way. She was confirming the venue just now. Members, can we accept those apologies?
Thank you, Chair. I move for the acceptance, but also in her absence, happy birthday to Member Hicklin. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. I don't know where's Tiamo. Tiamo, Member Clevere is asking if you can just maybe inform her because she is around. Thank you so much. Maybe before we start and before we can confirm the agenda, can I just ask that we move around the room and just introduce ourselves? I know that we've done that before, but can we just for formality's sake request that from Treasury on the right, and yeah, then we'll introduce ourselves. Thank you.
Good evening, Chair, and good evening to the members. My name is Owen Witboy. I'm the Deputy Director General responsible for municipal finance in the Provincial Treasury. Thank you.
Good evening, Chairperson and the members. My name is Sipati Tsiu. I'm from Gauteng Provincial Treasury, Acting Chief Director, Local Government Financial Services. Thank you very much.
Greetings, Chairperson and members of the committee, MMCs present, as well as colleagues. My name is Peter Msiza. I'm Chief Director also in the Treasury, supporting municipalities and reporting directly to Mr. Witboy.
Evening, Chair, honorable members. My name is Nduboy, and I normally say I'm from Meadowlands, just Chain Soweto, but I have the privilege of serving in the Gauteng Provincial Treasury. I'm standing in for the Chief Director responsible for supply chain, asset management, and financial reporting.
Good evening, Chair and honorable members. I'm Farin Masianuka, CFO Enfling.
Good evening, Chair and honorable members and colleagues. My name is Zakhele Mhlongo, Chief Financial Officer, Midval.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Councillor Pat. I'm the MMC for Finance at Midval.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Hassan Mako, MMC responsible for finance and revenue in Mfuleni local municipality.
Good evening, Chair and everyone. My name is Mashadele Pelling. I'm the MMC for finance in the setting.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rizwan Mansour. I'm from the Sedibeng local municipality, standing in for the CFO. Rizwan Mansour from the Sedibeng local municipality. I'm standing in for the CFO.
Good morning, everyone. Chair and members. My name is Bosiso Dlamini. I'm the municipal manager for the Sedibeng municipality.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lerato Chilwani, the researcher for the Finance Portfolio Committee. Thanks.
Good evening once more. My name is John Zani. I'm the Senior Committee Coordinator. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ntanyiseni Mulibana. I'm Senior Researcher at Gauteng Provincial Legislature.
Good evening, Chair. Good evening, honorable members. Good evening, MMCs. Good evening, colleagues. My name is Wakile Nsibande, Senior Information Officer for this committee, Finance Committee.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ken Wonkosi, Public Participations Unit.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Faranan Masonono. I'm the research intern under this committee.
I can use. Good evening, honorable members. My name is Regina Msimanga, Service Officer for Finance Committee.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tiamo Mangole, Committee Intern for the Finance Portfolio Committee. Thank you. Oh, the gentleman taking pictures, his name is Aubrey Dikola, Communications Officer. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We did not introduce ourselves because I think you know we've got our names in front of us. But thank you very much for introducing yourselves. You are welcome, Member Klebere. So, members, we are now on number 3, confirmation of the agenda. That Nzane, please take us through.
Thank you. Thank you once more, Chair. Chair, the agenda reads as follows. You have already dispensed with the first 2 agenda items, which is opening and welcome as well as apologies. Now we are on the confirmation of the agenda. The next one will be engagements with Sedibeng District Municipalities. The sole purpose of this is actually to provide feedback to municipalities on the support provided by GPT. And then the municipalities represented, Chair, is Midval Local Municipality, Mfuleni Local Municipality, Lesedi Local Municipality. And then, Chair, the rest of the agenda are standing items like NCOP bills, provincial bills, resolution striking, petitions, correspondence, announcements, and date of the next meeting and adjournment. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, members. Are there any inputs on the agenda? If not, may I request we move for the adoption? And
Yes, Chair, I move for the adoption.
thank you. Member Ngobeni.
Thank you, Chair. I will second.
So much. The agenda is duly adopted. We're going to move then to the next item, which is engagement with the Sedibeng District Municipalities. I'm going to hand over to the Provincial Treasury, the leader of the delegation, Dr. Owen, to table the presentation. So the expectation is that the presentation must respond to all the related and relevant issues that were raised by the municipality, and thereafter I'll allow municipalities to reflect on those responses that are specific to each municipality and follow up with any questions. Thank you.
Once again, good evening, Honorable Chair, and to the members of the Finance Committee and to our municipal representatives. Chair, as indicated, our presentation is multifolded. It's got 3 components. The first one is dealing with the addendum that the committee had asked the Provincial Treasury to respond on. And sorry, this mic is just dying on me. That's the first part of the presentation. We will then go into the municipal specific matters that were raised in the last portfolio committee. And then I'm going to present to the members just a short extract of the state of local government finance. And I say extract because the state of municipal finance is quite a comprehensive report. We publish in terms of the MFMA, Section 71, we have the obligation to publish on a quarterly basis the consolidated statement of municipal finance performance. And it's important to know that the component in the presentation is emanating from that report that we also publish. I think, members, it's also important to note that this presentation is taking place on the backdrop of municipalities just having approved and adopted their annual budgets for 2025, 2026. And I think it's important just to note, as a provincial treasury, we have commented on the draft budgets. We are currently dispensing with our assessment or observations on the final budgets that have been approved, and that will be communicated from the MEC to the respective mayors, as well as at an HOD level, will be communicated by the head of the Treasury to the respective municipal managers of delegated municipalities. The National Treasury at this point is dealing with the metropolitan municipalities. and as such, they will be communicating directly with the metropolitan municipalities. Chair, then I just want to indicate, and I think it's important to acknowledge this, is that we've got a very good working relationship with our chief financial officers, and we meet on a regular basis. And on the 26th of September, in 3 weeks' time, we will be having our quarterly engagement with all of the Gauteng CFOs. And very importantly, Chair, we are discussing matters related to the financial performance of municipalities, and also the thematic of that agenda takes on the MFMA timeline in terms of what municipalities will be dealing with in the financial year. And currently, Chair, we can also report that all our municipalities have successfully submitted their unaudited annual financial statements to the Auditor-General. So those are all the 11 Gauteng municipalities and all the entities, and they have complied in terms of the MFMA in submitting that to the Auditor-General. Chair, I think that was just for me important to state upfront as part of the presentation, because I think it's important that the honourable members of the committee is aware of the work being done by the Provincial Treasury. And I must say, Chair, we do this work collectively with our colleagues in COCTA, as well as the Provincial SALGA. And obviously, as Team Treasury, we work with the National Treasury on the metropolitan municipalities. Chair, if I can go into the formal presentation. I don't know, Chair, I'm getting a bit of an echo on this mic. I'm not sure if it's
Yeah, there is an echo. Continue talking so that they can check.
Chair, so in terms of the presentation, I'm going to deal with the responses to the addendum from the Finance Portfolio Committee. Some of that, Chair, will obviously follow in the slides related to the district and the extract on the state of municipal finance. Chair, just in terms of the general scope and oversight, the questions that were posed to us from related to current owed by national and provincial organs of state to municipalities. We will also ask a question related to which departments or organs of state are the biggest contributors to outstanding debt to municipalities. And then, Chair, we were asked to present an age analysis of these debts. In other words, your aging in terms of 30, 60, and 90 days. Chair, that will be included in the slides I will cover on the state of municipal finance. So that's just under question 1. Question 2, the committee asked us for a breakdown in transparency as it relates to the provincial treasury providing a breakdown of amounts owed to each municipality by each. And then related to that question is how often is the data on intergovernmental debt updated and published? And then we were also asked what mechanisms are in place to verify the accuracy of the debt figures reported by municipalities and departments. Chair, that will be part of the State of Municipal Finance slides. As I've alluded to earlier, there's an obligation in terms of the MFMA, Section 71 of the MFMA, where municipalities must report to the Provincial Treasury on the 10th working day of the month. And I can confirm, Chair, our municipalities are reporting regularly to the Provincial Treasury, and we then report to the National Treasury on the provincial or on the municipal performance, similar to what the colleagues on the PFMA side is doing in terms of the IYM. If we could slide. Chair, just in terms of policy and compliance, there was a question asked to us, are there any legal or policy frameworks guiding timeframes for the settlement of debt by organs of state to municipalities? What actions can and should municipalities take when state departments consistently fail to pay the bills? And what enforcement mechanisms are available to compel payment from delinquent departments? Chair, our response emanates from the MFMA Section 44, read in conjunction with MFMA Circular 21, which states and stipulates that on the settlement of government debt. Chair, I think also what is very important to note is that the provincial government, or Gauteng specifically, we have established the Debt Management Committee, which is our primary intergovernmental platform between ourselves, with the provincial departments and each of the municipalities in proactively managing the settlement of this particular debt. Chair, I must indicate also in relation to this question, the total debt owed to municipalities by all customers, in other words, residents, business, organs of state, amounts to about 153 billion as at the end of June 2025. Chair, I can also indicate that Gauteng government outstanding debt is at 1.2 billion, which is about 1.9% of the debt owed to municipalities. Now, we advocate, Chair, that municipalities have bylaws, and that bylaws empowers our municipalities to enforce credit control, and where any institution, whether it be a resident, whether it be business, whether it be government, if there is failure to honor that debt, municipalities must institute the required credit control measures. In terms of intervention and support, there was a question related to number 4. Has the Provincial Treasury intervened in any cases where non-payment by state entities threatens municipal financial stability? What does the provincial municipalities to recover debts from government entities? Now, Chair, one of the things that we must indicate as part of the work of the Debt Management Committee, during the month of June, the provincial government settled outstanding government debt to the tune of R1 billion, and that was for the month of June 2025. In terms of intergovernmental relations, subsidiary questions asked there was related to the coordination between Treasury, COCTA and DID to address payment defaults to municipalities. And there was also a question related to the national government, if there's a national intergovernmental forum. And Chair, the answer to that question is yes. And as indicated, the Debt Management Committee comprises of the Treasury, COCTA, DID, and other sector departments who also have accounts with municipalities. So it's a well-represented structure, Chair, in terms of intergovernmental coordination. If I can move to number 6, budget and planning implications. The question was asked, how do these unpaid amounts affect municipal budgeting, planning, and service delivery? There was also a question related to, are municipalities allowed to reflect this outstanding debt as guaranteed revenue in their budgets? Now, Chair, just to give you a synopsis, and that amount has actually moved. The annual budget for Gauteng municipalities as at the end of June 2025 was about 210 billion. We have just released or reported the first month's figures of the new financial year. And that number, Chair and members, have moved up to about 230 billion. That is what the aggregate budgets for Gauteng municipalities are. And Chair, the Gauteng debt in composition of the total budget of municipalities amounts to less than 0% of the amount owed, and thus would not, in our view, Chair, have a material effect on the financial sustainability of our municipalities. But Chair, there's always a recognition that we have an obligation to settle our debt to municipalities. So it does not matter whether we owe 1 or 2%. We also have an obligation to make sure that that debt is settled, because municipalities are budgeting for that and budgeting to finance matters related to service delivery. Chair, just in terms of preventative measures, what measures is the Provincial Treasury implementing to prevent the accumulation of intergovernmental debt? And Chair, there was also a question asked around the ring fencing of provincial department budgets. Now, Chair, one thing is important to note there, and the response provided in question 3 and 4 needs to be read in conjunction with our response here. Chair, and also the other point I wanted to mention was around Gauteng government debt. Is one of the categories of debt that is the best paying in terms of outstanding debt to municipalities. And Chair, I want the CFOs to also recognize that aspect. I think many times it's been said that because of government debt, municipalities are financially constrained. Chair, the numbers speak for themselves. Also, the payment ratio speaks for itself. It certainly cannot be, Chair, that because government debt is not being paid, that our municipalities are financially constrained. I think that fact is demystified in the financial figures presented here, Chair. Thank you. Chair, I will now move, I know we presented to West Rand a few weeks back. We gave one consolidated presentation. So I'm going to move straight into Sedibeng region. Chair, just on our high-level summation of the issues raised by our municipalities, and we'll start off with Midvaal municipality. Chair, the allocation of additional funding, there was a question related to assess the critical issues such as asbestos, pipe replacement, to reduce water losses, looking at the funding of smart meters and the P process. Chair, our responsible unit, and I must indicate that the Municipal Finance Management branch is one of the 5 programs, main programs within the Provincial Treasury. And the responsible units here is subcomponents of that branch within the Provincial Treasury. Chair, our leading and responsible unit here would be our Municipal Revenue Management Unit, but also our P unit, which is under Program 2, Sustainable Resource Management. And also, Chair, maybe we might not have included COCTA, but COCTA is primarily responsible for dealing with service delivery matters. And also, it should be noted that COCTA has got an infrastructure unit that would ordinarily be tracking matters related to capital expenditure and infrastructure implementation, although we report, Chair, on the financial performance of our municipalities in terms of capital expenditure. Chair, just in terms of feedback that were raised, now the municipalities' request, Chair, I can indicate to the committee, was shared with the national and provincial COCTA, and we were advised as part of that communication that the municipality is required to submit MIG-1, including its technical report, and get the projects registered. Also, what was indicated to us is that there is limited MIG funding available, and the municipality can only allocate certain amounts to address funding needs. Chair, also as part of that feedback for the 24-25 financial year, there was funding allocated for the replacement of asbestos pipes, and 100% of this allocation was spent by the municipality on the 30th of June 2025. Chair, and I really must commend, I think when you look at the capability of Midvaal municipality to implement its annual budget, I think that's very commendable. And when you look at the performance of the municipality, and I mean, it's certainly no wonder that a municipality attains a clean audit and a reflection of the financial management discipline within the municipality. And we certainly see that coming through in the financial reporting, but also so some of our other municipalities are also performing well in terms of capital expenditure. I don't know if the chair and the members are aware that the National Parliament Portfolio Committee on COCTA will be visiting tomorrow and Friday. In fact, I can just speak of notes that we've prepared for our MEC to input there. And as at the end of this financial year, Tshwane municipalities reported as the best performing in terms of capital expenditure, sitting at about 96%. So I do indicate, Chair, that we have a lot of municipalities that are showing positive strides, but I think it would be remiss of me not to commend Midvaal, I think, for the financial management discipline that we do see in the municipality. Chair, also the P unit is currently providing advice and support to Midvaal Electricity Department on Ps, and will provide continued support to the municipality on other P initiatives if required. Chair, the municipality also raised a request for intervention as it relates to the settlement of debts, and our responsible unit here is Municipal Revenue Management. Chair, I can indicate to the committee there has been interventions undertaken by the DMC. The Midvaal CFO was part of the meetings with the Department of Health, where municipalities were that the PH SLAs will be signed by the end of June. I just need to check, Chair, whether that did follow through in terms of finalization. Chair, and also what is important to note is that the organs of state debt has also been escalated, Chair, at the political level, and the acting Premier presented at the Salga Roundtable discussions, which was held on the 25th of July. And also, MMC, with your permission, I can indicate that the MMC was certainly in attendance. And always, one of the things that I must say about the MMCC always keeps us accountable and responsible in terms of commitments. But Chair, that's just feedback in terms of the organs of state. In terms of the upgrade in the financial system for improved integration and automation, Chair, in the Provincial Treasury at this point, our capability response, Chair, is at a municipal fiscal policy and research level. We certainly don't have a dedicated unit that can deal with this. But I think what is very important to note here, Chair, is that this reform is being driven by the National Treasury, and they have done quite a bit of work around municipal systems changes and have introduced quite a number of reforms in this particular space. So the National Treasury is very leading here, Chair. In fact, I cannot recall if any of my provincial treasury counterparts have a dedicated unit dealing with financial systems. But certainly, as I've indicated, this is an area where the provincial or the National Treasury is leading. But just feedback in terms of that, Chair, when considering the upgrade of financial systems, it is important to note to the committee that NT has issued a circular to guide the process, and also with reference to the latest circular issued by the National Treasury, which is the MFMA Circular 120/23, which was issued in the 2023-2024 MTREF period. Chair, I think also what is important to note here is that the municipality is encouraged to follow up and to also read it in conjunction with paragraph 4.2 of that particular circular, because it sets out clearly the processes to be followed in relation to the enterprise resource planning, or the ERP as we commonly know it within the financial system. But Chair, I can indicate that the National Treasury is certainly committed to hear from the municipality if there's any other support requirements beyond what is provided for in the prescripts. Chair, in terms of funding for document management, again, Chair, at our level at this particular point and in terms of our capability, it's at a municipal fiscal policy and research level. I must indicate, Chair, this is quite a fairly new unit, and this unit has recently issued the Municipal Economic Review and Outlook. It's a first publication of its nature, and the whole intention with that publication, Chair, is to inform the municipal budget process, but also to start serving as a catalyst for long-term financial planning. As indicated, we are currently dealing with this matter at a research level, and also, Chair, what is important is that we also have funding limitations in terms of funding this particular request from the municipality, and certainly, Chair, our municipalities are encouraged to explore other funding that are available within the fiscal framework. As we know that the equitable share has certainly got its limitations, and also very importantly note that the equitable share has got specific funding areas in terms of what that funding is earmarked for. Then there was an issue related to GoMuni, Muni e-monitor, the FMCMM, and the duplication of reporting tools. This matter is residing with the Municipal Compliance and IGR unit. Chair, we do engage with the National Treasury on this matter. And certainly, Chair, one thing I can indicate, the National Treasury had conducted research on the reporting instruments from municipalities. And a couple of years back, they pegged that reporting requirements to be at about 13,000 indicators that municipalities are required to report, both national, provincial, in terms of the policy frameworks. And that is quite a reporting burden on our municipalities. And certainly, this instrument is trying and reduce that in terms of the reporting obligation. If I can move to Mfuleni municipality. Chair, I just want to check how much time I have left.
No, please, we need to be thorough because the information is important.
Chair, just moving on to Mfuleni local municipality. There was a request for investigative support in terms of irregular expenditure. Mr. Peter Msiza, my colleague to my left, is primarily responsible for this area, being municipal compliance and IGR, and also Ntuboy, in terms of municipal supply chain management, is representing that unit. But Chair, we can report positively to this committee that Treasury, in collaboration with SIGFARO and Indalo Governance, conducted a workshop for MPACs on the investigation of UIF and W expenditure on the 5th of August 2025. Chair, just a typo there. That certainly was earmarked for the region of Sedibeng. Chair, then moving on to training of MPACs to reinforce the oversight role and the role of the disciplinary boards. The accounting officer reports UIFW expenditure on a quarterly basis, and the role thereafter needs to follow. And I think Chair, first to is once this report is what then happens to dealing with UIF and W in our municipalities. Provided that necessary training with SIGFARO. Note that, Chair, as provincial treasury officials, SIGFARO is our professional body, and many of us are members of the Chartered Institute of Government Finance and Risk Officers, and many of us are quite senior institute. Chair, for this region provided bid committee and contract management workshops, and that was conducted on the 25th of March and the 7th of May 2025 respectively. We are looking at rolling out a much more comprehensive training program, and it will be around specific thematic areas, and we will do that for the next 3 years. And that certainly, Chair, we will report to our municipalities and share with them in terms of. But Chair, here's the thing about the training. It is not just limited to municipal officials. We are going to open this training also for municipal councillors, and also, Chair, we want to open it to the members of this committee also to participate there, because we certainly want to have our members empowered, and we certainly believe that, you know, the strength of our members is in the sharing of information, and certainly we want to keep that positive and open, Chair, as far as possible and as far as what we can do it, because certainly we rely on your support as well, and it's very important for us in the work that we do with our municipalities. Chair, so I just wanted to report on that. Moving on to Lesedi municipality, there was a request related to the training of municipal staff on MSCOA, supply chain and GRAP requirements. The responsible unit there is the Municipal Finance Management Unit, which is basically under my branch that I'm leading. And Chair, as I've indicated, we have provided training to our municipalities in preparation of the annual financial statements process, but also, as I've indicated, we are going to roll out a much more comprehensive training program forward. Chair, also there was a request for continued advisory support in the areas of asset management, supply chain management, financial statements review, and the responsible unit there being municipal asset management and supply. To this committee, that we currently have municipal advisors that have been placed in all of our municipalities to provide technical hands-on support. One of the areas that we must indicate to the committee that is currently at a bit of a risk is our technical support in terms of the MSCOA reform. And purely, Chair, because that contract has come to an end, I think the one thing around MSCOA, it is quite a specialized area. It's also a very expensive expertise to absorb within the Treasury. Even at National Treasury, this function is outsourced because of the system's skills and professionalism that we are looking for in the expertise. But certainly, Chair, we are looking at renewing this program because we do realize that the National Treasury will look at our municipalities' compliance in terms of MSCOA as the first area to cut equitable share if there are non-compliance or regression in terms of the overall compliance. But we support our municipalities with this initiative. Chair, then the continued involvement of GPT officials, part of the Municipal Audit Steering Committee. Chair, we, COCTA and SALGA, are part of our Municipal Audit Steering Committees, and as the audit is going to unfold, our staff members will be part of those steering committees with the Auditor-General. And what is very important, Chair, in those committees, when there are matters of interpretation on accounting matters, the AG, the municipality, look at the provincial treasury to providing that policy clarity in those audit steering committees. And we will continue to do that, Chair, but you certainly have our commitment in terms of that. Chair, just moving on to the state of municipal finance. As I've indicated, Chair, there was a request from the committee to present on the aging debt. As indicated, currently we are owing about 1.2 billion, and it's aggregated down to the Department of Education, our Section 20 schools at 149 million, DID sitting at 750 million. Chair, the one thing that I really want to appeal to the municipalities, the Debt Management Committee have set out a request for all our municipalities to submit the state claim. Now, the state claim is what we otherwise commonly referred to as the property rights portion of the municipal debt. And that we have requested that it comes in at the end of August. We are still reconciling with DID to understand what the value of those state claims are, which municipalities have submitted, and also, Chair, to get a sense of whether the value of the state claims matches the budget that we've put out to finance the payment of municipal property rates. We have certainly had a challenge in the past, Chair, in terms of the adequacy of this budget to pay for property rates, and also on the side of municipal services. So I think that's just important to note and to speak on that. Chair, and I think also to acknowledge that there are credits that are sitting within the system. We have certainly paid our municipalities. And I think bullet number 2 is quite important, Chair, just to put that amount that we owe in context. According to courts, Chair, and this certainly could have moved slightly given the reporting period. Now, the outstanding balance excludes accounts with advance payments from Mfuleni, Ikuruleni, and also when you discount some of the credits that are sitting within the system, that amount's reduced to about 1.1 billion. And as I've indicated, Chair, we have paid about R1 billion in the month of June. So, Chair, that's just a question in terms of the departments that are owing. Chair, and then we also wanted to give the committee a sense of payments that were made in the month of June. As indicated, the Department of Education paid 117 million. DID had paid 793 million. The Department of Health have paid 105 million. And so, Chair, you get a sense, and members, of what makes up the R1 billion payment that was made to municipalities in the month of June. So we just wanted to give the members a breakdown. And then the members will see per municipality what was settled in terms of the outstanding debt. Chair, this is just the aging of that 1.2 billion. over the current, the 30 days, the 60 days, 90 days, and 120 days balance. And Chair, most of that is sitting within our property rate segment, and also there are some accounts related to the Department of Health, especially our big institutions, where at times we sometimes have some disputes around the payments, but certainly as the Debt Management Committee Chair, we remain committed to ensure that we bring this amount continuously down in terms of our efforts to ensure municipalities are paid. Chair, yeah, this is just calculating, just to discount the June payment in terms of the outstanding debt, but also just to note, Chair, that the current, as municipalities have started a new financial year, that property rates annual claim will be added to this amount that is showing in terms of balance. Chair, and then they say charity starts at home. We have instituted, Chair, municipal instruction notes. And we've issued an instruction note because we want to understand if municipal officials and councillors are paying the municipality. As much as we place a focus on provincial government, we also need to understand how the officials and public representatives take on the accountability. We've introduced that instruction note. We've introduced a second instruction note, Chair, to deal with the issue of third-party payments by municipalities. Payments to SARS, payments to the pension fund, payments to the medical aid, because we have been informed by the National Treasury that some of these third-party institutions are reporting nationally that they are not getting paid, it's not being settled by municipalities. And we have issued an instruction note that compel municipalities to pay, to report to us those transactions and those payments. And thirdly, Chair, because of the performance on capital expenditure, we have also issued instruction note 3 that compels municipalities to report to us on capital expenditure and also drill down to projects. Now, what I can inform the members, it has certainly not gone down well with some of our municipalities. Our municipalities have certainly objected to us issuing these instruction notes. But Chair, if these numbers are anything to go by, you would agree with me, Chair, that those instruction notes are needed. The committee will always ask us, how do we enforce the Treasury role? And certainly, Chair, we will not, I'm trying to find the right word. We will certainly act, if I can put it that way, Chair. And we will act, and those why those instruction notes have been issued, and I can report to this committee, we will stand by those instruction notes. Irrespective of the opposition that we've gotten from some of our municipalities, especially in the other region, but we will continue to enforce that, Chair. But just in terms of municipalities are being owed 182 million. Chair of are owing our municipalities about 5 million, while municipalities 176 million. Chair, you will see the municipalities in the Sedibeng region have also been reported here in terms of those particular. And I certainly want to ask my municipal representatives what strides are being made to make sure that those debts are being settled. Because certainly there is an obligation, a municipal representative, that you cannot owe your municipality. So Chair, that's why this starts at home. So before we enforce, let's look internally around the settlement of this particular debt. Chair, just moving on to outstanding debt. Gauteng Municipal Debtors Book is standing at 153 billion as at the end of June 2025. 88% of those debtors are over 90 days, and 74% are being owed by households. Chair, and then when you look at commercial, it's the second biggest debt owed to municipalities, and just over 23% of that outstanding debt. Chair, just in terms, and I want to maybe go back to the previous slide, Chair. Just to demonstrate, and when you look at organs of state, Chair, those are inclusive of national departments, public entity or state-owned entities. And Gauteng is representing less than 1% of that debt owed to municipalities. And again, Chair, the numbers speak for themselves in terms of whether the provincial government is responsible for the state of municipal sustainability. Certainly not, Chair, when you look at the numbers that are being presented here. Just in terms of total outstanding creditors, our municipalities are owing their creditors 49.6 billion. The bulk of that is being owed to Eskom, Rand Water, and trade creditors. And Chair, just to note that we have a number of our municipalities that are non-compliant with Section 65 of the MFMA, which compels our municipalities to settle creditors within 30 days. On the proviso, Chair, that we also need to acknowledge the payment plans that currently exist between our municipalities and these service providers. Chair, and then also very importantly, one of the things that we need to note is the impact of this, Chair, on this current year's budget. Because the reality is, if we are owing 49 billion, you would agree with me, Chair, as we talk in the provincial government space, the first charge against the fiscus. And certainly those accruals, if you offset it from the 230 billion that was recently approved, our municipalities have basically 180 billion rand to spend on municipal services. Chair, this brings me to my last slide, and that's our presentation in terms of hopefully what the committee have asked us to cover. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much, Dr. Owen, for the presentation. We're going to hand over then to the different municipalities for follow-up questions and comments on the presentations, and thereafter I'll allow members to also engage on the presentation. So let's start with Midval, move on to Mfuleni, then Lesedi. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thanks, DDG Owen. Just to say the SLAs have not been signed. You asked the question in your presentation there. It was meant to be signed at the end of June. As of today, they're not signed with the Department of Health yet. I just wanted to disagree with the DDG to say that, you know, he says that the monies that's owed to us by government will not should not influence our budgets or have impact on our budgets. I mean, this can't be, because basically we are now having unfunded mandates presented to us by the fact that they're not being settled. And we still have outstanding debt to government of 18.3 million. That is split obviously across different departments. And he's quite correct. I was at the roundtable discussion. And what he's talking and what they spoke there is not exactly correct, in line, because here on the presentations we're being told, institute debt collection. At the round table they're saying, no, we should take pity. I mean, it can't be. I told them to go to hell. That's why he knows I was there. I mean, they're saying practice Batupile. I said, I've been practicing Batupile for 2 years. Go to hell. I am cutting the clinics. So something seriously needs to be done here, Chairperson. It's just not improving. So, and I know it wasn't part of the last meeting, but just to say to you, we've got a problem now with our government schools. They cannot pay these accounts. And if we're going to cut services to the government schools, more specifically water, you might have 1,000 children at a school. I can guarantee you within 20 to 30 minutes, that sewer system, I mean, those bathrooms are not usable anymore. We saw on TV last night the case of a school that, you know, the toilet facilities are not good. So thank you, but I think we're still in trouble.
Thanks, MMC, and I just need to correct the fact that you need to withdraw the let's just tone down on the wording. We can't, not in this meeting. I don't want to repeat the words that you
Chair,
said.
I'm sorry, I will not. You have to realize how serious this is. For 2 years, we've been begging for money. And I'm saying begging. We go to the Premier. We go to Treasury. We come here. Where else must we go?
Okay.
And it's not, if it was only Midval, I'd say there's something wrong. But it's not. At that round table, all the municipalities are crying about the same thing. And they pay no attention to us. We're taken as a joke.
All right, it's noted, MMC. Let's move on
Chair, but for the purpose of the decorum, the MMC must still withdraw to maintain peace in this meeting. Regardless of the issues that have been raised currently, the manner in which the meeting must proceed will be disrupted if the MMC is going to say those things and there is nothing thereafter. It will create a precedence that in the next meeting, when somebody says something like this, and we will no longer be saying anything. We are pleading that the MMC withdraw so that there is peace in the meeting.
Sorry, Chair, I hear what the Honourable Member is saying, but I'm telling you the actual words I said in the round table meeting. These are not words I'm saying here. I said it there.
Okay, MMC.
I'm giving a report.
All right, MMC. We've heard you. The members are not comfortable with the words or the report that you are giving. You have given us a thorough report on the feedback in terms of what transpired in that meeting, but we will not be able to record the wording that you have just said in this meeting, and therefore we're just requesting that you tone down on that. We are going to record, yes, what you have informed us in terms of how you have taken the feedback, from the municipality moving forward, and we are going to deliberate on that. Thank you. Can I request that other officials also going to comment on especially from Midval? Sorry, yes, Member Sidnyani.
I also want to follow up, Chair. I think you have made a ruling which was also supported. And unfortunately, we're not part of a meeting that some of those issues were said. And we are here for the first time to listen to this information. And it will be important that respect is also adhered to, and ensure that your ruling, Chair, remains a decision that can the MMC really withdraw the language and continue to raise frustrations and all of that. Nothing wrong. Stop her from raising whatever issues that he raised, sharply so. But to use the language, it becomes a problem. And we can't accept that.
So MMC, the members have raised an issue, and I am going to make a ruling as well. In terms of the rules of the legislature, and when we do the contents of the debate, you are not to use an offensive language. Now, the members are repeatedly saying, let's withdraw the language that you have used.
Chair, it's no longer the members. It's your ruling that must stand. And your ruling in this meeting must be respected.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll withdraw the word go to hell.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, member. The CFO.
Thank you, Chair.
Chair, I must maybe just start by indicating that we appreciate the support that the Provincial Treasury has assisted us on. And I note the responses they made with regards to some of the requests we made for funding for projects and the pointers they're giving us in terms of the consultations they've made with the National Department of Culture. And we take note of those, and we will certainly follow up with them. And also to confirm that we do have continuous engagements, as the DDG indicated, and we are receiving support. However, Chair, as the MMC indicated, with the issue of the debt owing by the Department of Health, that is still a challenge for us. It was indicated in the feedback report by the DDG that there were meetings which were facilitated by the province, which we as Midval were part of. But I must indicate, Chair, without using the horrible words, that those meetings did not actually achieve what we desired, because in the last financial year, we didn't have an SLA in place, but we are running the service, and we got to audit, and Auditor-General was questioning the debt that is in our books in the absence of an SLA. All our efforts to get the SLA in place failed. We ended up going to the offices of the Department of Health to make them sign an acknowledgement of debt in order to keep the debt in our books. And that was signed. At that point, it was 8.3 million. We are now sitting at 18.3 million as at the end of June. Unfortunately, also on the presentation, it was omitted. I'm not sure how, but that is the challenge that we are still grappling with. We don't have an SLA. We don't have an acknowledgement of debt. We are at a risk with the audit because the department is not honoring the issue of the SLA. In those meetings, we were told that the SLA is with legal, and all the time we attended meetings, there was no movement. So it's a bit frustrating that the department is not taking that serious enough for us. And we've thought of measures. We have disconnected electricity in the clinics for a couple of days, and we could see the impact on the members of the community. And the department did pay some small amounts pertaining to services only, but they didn't pay us for they paid for the consumption only. They didn't pay us for the services that we are doing, which makes that 18.3 million to remain. The other comment, Chair, I'd just like to make, the presentation highlighted that we've got councillors and staff that are owing us. And I must, in terms of, are there any strides we are making with that? I must indicate, Chair, that we report that on our monthly Section 71 report that goes to Council, and we've got arrangements in place. And the staff members, we are deducting every month from them. We've got 157,000 now, and we are monitoring it every month that it reduces. There was a couple of months back where it increased when we employed new staff members, but we think we've got it well under control in terms of the arrangements in place. With regard to councillors, it's an amount of 51,000, and it's at this stage one councillor who joined council a few months ago, replacing a deceased member of council. And also with regard to that, we've got the arrangement in place, and we are satisfied that it's being serviced. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. We're going to move then to Mfuleni.
Good evening once again, Chair. We welcome the presentation. We once again also welcome the support that is provided by Provincial Treasury. However, Chair, maybe I'm going to sound like a broken record. although I might not use the words of my colleague here, you can't say a debt that is sitting over 100 million is not material. I think we're not being fair on municipalities. And I saw in the slide there that the debt owed to Mfuleni by the Department of Health is not covered. And I wanted to text the CFO as to maybe did it come through today before we made our way here. Well, I know that for a fact that it has not been paid. It's been 5 years battling with the signing of the SLA, the signing of the acknowledgement of debt. We are being played every day by the Department of Health, and we believe as a municipality that that money is material and can actually contribute towards some of our own creditors. Honestly, Chair, I feel that Mr. Vedboy is trying to downplay this particular matter. When we met in Sedibeng at the Riverside Sun Hotel, we highlighted as to how important is this money. We have written to the Premier, we've written to the Provincial Treasury, having to explain as to what is it that we're going to do with our own money. And till today, after having exhausted that, we come here, we get a presentation, and it is said, no, don't worry about the government debt, rather focus on this one that is owed by municipal employees. And of which I believe that there must be a balance. Once we acknowledge that we must focus on municipal employees, what are government entities doing? Every time we're told, no, let's exhaust IGR processes, how far have they put us? And some of the honorable members here, representing their own different political parties, will be going to the media to say that municipalities can't function, financial mismanagement, 1, 2, and 3. But some of the things that we're putting on the table here, I said that we must downplay them. And Chair, I don't believe that it is fair. I also don't take it kindly. We can't raise one and the same thing over and over again, especially coming to one department. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, MMC. The CFO?
Chair, for the sake of not repeating what has already been said, I'm fine, thanks.
Thank you very much. Let's move then to Lesedi.
Evening again, Chair. Let me welcome the presentation, Chair, and also acknowledge the support that we are getting from Treasury. But Chair, I think I don't see the issue of the debt from human settlement, and we've been raising this issue several times. But maybe MMC we should explore other avenue to compel this department to pay us, because we've been talking about this debt for the longest time and we don't get joy. Yeah, thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, MMC. The officials, are they going to comment? Yes, MM?
No, thanks, Chair.
Just wait, because it has to be recorded. We're looking for the mics.
Thanks, Chair. I think on the side of municipal employees owing the municipality and councillors, In Lesedi, we also have one councillor, which is about 100,000 or so. And we also have employees, 1,000, yeah, 1,000. And we have employees that have also, all of them made an arrangement, and they're honoring those arrangements as well. I think on the issue of CRUs and human settlement, I think I would plead on that one, that maybe between Lesedi and Treasury, to have a technical engagement and also compare the figures, because our CFO has different figures, and they are much higher, also from the figures that we normally see. So I think we can ventilate that at a technical level between the CFO and of Lesedi and the provincial treasury, so that we actually arrest this issue of human settlement, because it is one issue that is really, really hitting hard on our financials, because we've got CRUs that were never completed and invaded and such, and they still belong to human settlement. And we need to find a solution to this issue. We're talking at more than a decade here, so it's quite serious. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much. I'm going to allow members to also engage the presentation before we get a response from the department. I'll start from my left. Member Klaba, Member Robinson. Oh, okay. Let's start there. Member Sisidinyani, Member Klaba, Member Robinson, Member Evans, Ngobeni, and Kleber. And I'll follow. Thanks.
No. Thank you very much, Chair. And once more, we also wish to welcome the presentation. I thought, Chair, our last meeting that we had with municipalities, and afterward also listened to the issues. The committee would have also raised some of the issues, especially that I also had expected that municipalities would also start working on in implementing. And the presentation further still captures some of the areas that are still not yet, improved in terms of the collection of the revenue by municipalities. And amongst others, I remember we spoke on the issue of employees of municipalities who may be owing municipality. That there cannot be a romantic approach to those kind of people, because you are paying them salaries, and it is expected that they should be the first ones that they should assist in ensuring that they pay their dues and make sure that municipality continue to function, including councillors equally, that are also getting paid from the same municipality that are expected to also service municipality. That we need municipalities to be clear and never be apologetic. But furthermore, we also, Chair, indicated in terms of businesses that are also really owing municipalities, that we can't be, scared to approach or rather develop a strategy that is extremely harsh in terms of ensuring that municipalities are able to receive that revenue. But what is extremely disappointing is then you have departments that are owing municipalities and nothing, is happening. I mean, if schools, for an example, are owing municipalities, it is expected that the Department of Education should be able to ensure that they pay municipalities, because that's where municipalities should be in a position to function, including a problem child called the Department of Health. It's important that the department continue to respond to the issues of the services, because you can imagine if these municipalities were to tomorrow decide to cut off water in municipalities, in hospitals, what's going to happen, or even electricity for that matter. there will be serious chaos in the country. There will be chaos. But these are resources that municipalities are expected to run proper functioning municipalities. A benchmarking of municipalities who will be informed with a proper health, monies that are run by municipalities. So it's important that we don't take them lightly and all of that. That is why the councillors will come here and really use such words, because they would be frustrated that the department is not doing its task, which is to ensure that they pay what is due. So we once wish to ask for the department that we've got to assist and ensure that we help these municipalities, so that tomorrow when they fail on their own and they start asking for rescue and all of that, they cannot make excuse the department. They must fail on their own and be able to be held accountable on their own. But it can't be that the department or the provincial government will help them to be incompetent in their task in terms of executing their responsibilities. I thought, let me just emphasize on that one stage. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Member Slava.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening to Chair and the colleagues. My apologies for arriving late. Chair, we welcome the presentation and the responses from Treasury and the support that they provide to municipalities. However, we still have concerns in terms of departments owing municipalities. I am not going to repeat what Member Sedinyane raised, but it is a concern, and maybe as a committee and Treasury, we need to establish what steps can be taken to resolve the delay and support the municipalities. My question to Treasury is, can we have timelines, especially on issues or requests that are escalated to National Treasury, like the funding for document management system? I think that is very critical and important in terms of supporting municipalities. So can we have a timeline as to when can that be achieved? And secondly, councillors and officials owing municipalities. I mean, Mfuleni, they're sitting at 27 million rand. Can we have maybe as well what time frames has been set for the full recovery of this debt? Because 27 million is a lot. We note that there will be deductions from salaries and bonuses, but at least if we can have a time frame as to when this debt will be fully recovered. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Member Makwala.
Thank you very much, Chair. Let's welcome the presentation. Maybe firstly, I wanted to raise the issue on presentation of allowing the schools to take over of their own rates and the municipal bills. Beside what we saw on TV or what we are seeing now, the idea cannot work. We need to work on it and deliberate on it thoroughly, because to abandon these schools to SGBs and principals, it's going to cause a serious chaos in Gauteng. And we've seen that in almost everywhere. We are happy with the reports in terms of municipal officials or councillors owing, but are also making arrangements in terms of paying. I do not think the money is disturbing. But also it is disturbing that we as a finance committee are able to pay the Department of Health and the Department of Human and Settlement, but still they do not honor or pay their municipalities. That is a serious issue of concern that we as a committee, we need to look onto it and come out with clear resolutions or solutions on how we deal with it. We are also raising issues with certain departments here. So this is the same committee that must make sure that these issues are resolved thoroughly, and we will take them into consideration. But also maybe the chair will guide in terms of these SLAs that both Mfuleni and Lesedi are complaining about, that this committee must really look into it and try to find solutions so that the next meeting we're not told of SLAs that are not being signed, and that is the reason why these municipalities are collapsing. So the next meeting we do not want to hear that political parties will be going out and claiming that municipalities are not functioning properly while they are owed by the same departments that we are in. So it is this committee that must make sure and ask key questions to the Department of Health, or why are you not paying when you are paid? Because you need to pay. So we'll look into that and maybe also check with the chair in terms of making sure that these meetings of Midval, of the Southern Sun, and that you went to and we were not there, maybe we look onto them and get to find solutions onto them. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Member Robinson.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, I have three things I just want to talk on. The first was on the assertions by, I'm going to say Mr. Owen. I did not catch your last name, sir. So you stated that there was compliance with Section 71 in terms of municipalities actually reporting there. The part that I'm missing, I've asked the MEC about that as well, in terms of municipal reporting, and he confirmed the same that you confirmed to me today, or to the committee today. But in terms of Section 71(7), there is a requirement of Treasury to make public the state of municipal finances, as well as those reports to be tabled at the legislature within 30 and 45 days respectively. I have checked the website, and I must say I did not find that it is made public. So how is that done, if indeed it is done? And then in terms of the legislature, I don't see those reports coming to the legislature either. If you could just confirm where that might lie at. Then I recognize that I'm working with two separate sets of dates and facts. However, the Minister of COGTA was asked about provincial debts to Gauteng municipalities by provincial departments. And in March, it totaled about 1.8 billion rand. Then by June, it was 1.2 billion. So I'm going to assume that in that period, a series of debts were paid. But one of the issues that I'm finding is not so much with the past 60 days, past 90 days. You know, it already then becomes a problem, past 90, past 120. However, in the minister's response, it showed quite a large amount of money that had been owed to some of the municipalities here for more than a year. So if I heard the MMC from Mfuleni, is it, correctly, some of these SLAs and acknowledgements of debts have not been signed for more than 5 years. The municipal manager from Lesedi, Mr. Dlamini, said the same thing for 10 years. I know that problem doesn't sit with Treasury. It is the client departments that are supposed to be servicing these debts. The thing is, if you look at Mfuleni, 202 million rand as at the end of March was being owed to Mfuleni for over a year. That's not even the total, which was 328. Then you go to Lesedi, 6.3 million was owed for more than a year. So my point being that a lot of departments are actually allowed to get away with murder, while municipalities are told, But we are not the reason that you are having problems when there's certainly an effect. Previously, we saw that, I think it was Lesedi, had a 10 million rand a month shortage in terms of their budget. All of these municipalities are tabling budgets that are unfunded. And we are sitting with a situation where the provincial government is certainly not leading by example and adding to that problem. So that is more a statement than a question, really, and I'm not putting that at your feet. Then I just wanted to confirm, Mr. Dlamini was talking about the 10 years and the different figures that were being given by province versus what was being given by the municipality. Was that in terms of the councillor, I struggle to hear you, in terms of the councillor debts, or was it debt being owed by the Department of Human Settlements? Because even in the COCTA response, it said Lesedi was owed 0 by the Department of Housing in the province. All right, thank you, Chair. That is my bit.
Thank you so much, Member Evans and then Member Ngobeni.
Thank you so much, Chair. Thank you, everybody else that came out tonight. Thank you for the presentation, Mr. Witbooi. Much appreciated. Let me start with the presentation. Figures always looks good on paper. We are always led to believe that so much will be paid, so much is outstanding, this or that will be done in presentations. But it doesn't get done. Not always. It's disappointing that municipalities should actually come out and beg for money because they are the ones looking bad in their municipalities. Our councillors, peer councillors, MMCs, the Tuti on municipality level, they are the ones looking bad. What is mind-boggling is that there is money. There's always money, but there's never money to pay for important things. Like the MMC said, the school with the sewer problem. Number one is our children's dignity thought of. We must think. We have got unemployment in our households. We have drug addiction in our households. We've got gogos, our pensioners, looking after our children because we dump the children. We've got child-headed households. We've got households where there's sicknesses, illnesses, diseases. And then we have our youngsters going to school. Now, if a child cannot use a proper toilet with that dignity of using a toilet, imagine what some of our children goes home to with this stigma of sewer water, stinking toilets, non-flushing toilets, and our children must go home with that to conditions harder than harsh for most of them. I cannot understand, I fail to understand why are our people not treated with dignity and the respect that not just the people in Gauteng, but South Africans deserve. Why our departments doesn't pay, and it's not just Treasury that I'm speaking about, but in the main, all our departments, it's a money thing. It's a money thing. Money left here for whatever service delivery. Money left there for something else. Why can we not serve our people with pride? We are, after all, public servants, whether we sit in an office, whether we do groundwork, whether we do the running up and down, we are public servants. But that does not exclude taking accountability. Many of our municipalities also fails because of fraudulent activities. And some of us just refuse to take accountability. Sometimes we do get that money that we show, but then somebody else decides they need it more than a municipality does. So consequent management, accountability, transparency, these are of the utmost importance to make a success of our country, of our province. So I'd like to leave it there, saying that whatever happens, please let us serve with pride. Let us be the public servants that we know we should be. Let us pay what we need to pay when there's money for whatever. Let us plan proper. Let us not jump like Jack in the boxes all over the show and pay 3 cents here and 5 cents there. Let us follow through with the plan. Let us focus on what we are supposed to do. That's not just for Treasury. That's for the municipalities as well. We have got people that we need to look after. We've got a province that we need to serve. Let's do that with pride. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much, Chair, and good evening. Chair, I'm struggling to find where I must start, but maybe I must also register that I find it very problematic for the DDG to continuously repeat that Gauteng government is the least problematic debtor to municipalities. In fact, Chair, if I was on your chair, I was going to ask him to withdraw that. Just like we have asked the MMC to withdraw. It's quite offensive coming from someone who's doing financial management in the department. Because even if it's 1% of the debt that is owed to a municipality, I mean, the absolute cash flow effect on small municipalities, it's significant, and you should know that. And then when you respond to the questions that we raised, you continuously say that the onus is on municipalities to exercise credit control, which is fine, and I think we agree on that. But what is the provincial department or provincial government's role in terms of enforcing that department needs to pay their dues? In your response, Mr. Voidboy, you're not giving us any new mechanisms or strategies of how we are going to mitigate these problems. We ask you a specific question. How is the department or the provincial government going to ensure that we deal with this matter? Because colleagues here are correct. We are continuously bashing them on their finances. The MMC released a statement from M. Fuleni that she's going to Treasury to ask for debt relief, and I was first one to release a statement to say he needs to get his house in order. But then we come here, they are owed a lot of money, and the department is not giving us any tangible steps of how we are going to address these particular problems. And Chair, I really want to propose something because we can't just be a committee of talk shops and we come here and we don't take any decisive steps on how we are going to assist this government to be run efficiently. My proposal, Chair, is that we need to call for consequence management, not necessarily on the DGG, VETBOY, but we really need to call this habitual defaulters, the heads of department of these departments needs to come to this committee. We need to call them here so that they can be able to account on why they are not prioritizing paying their debt. Clearly, they are prioritizing something else ahead of service delivery, because failure of us paying these municipalities on time means that we are compromising service delivery. So my proposal, Chair, will be that we need to call for political heads of department to be called to this department or to this committee, where we can be able to get them to answer these questions on why are they not doing what they're supposed to do. I just want to go into each municipality in terms of how the department responded. We welcome the efforts to respond to all the questions that we raised. And the frustration from Mid-Val, it's also appreciated. I mean, I'm looking at the response about the ESCOM issue in terms of tariff increases, or those demand charges and retrospective recalculations that was done. And I see that the department is not committing to assist there. There is no indication of whether this matter will be referred into a committee or task team of any sort to assist Mid-Val to deal with that matter. So maybe I missed it, Mr. VETBOY. If you can maybe clarify to me as to how are we going to assist Mid-Val on that particular issue. When it gets to Lesedi, Chair, I just saw a bit of deflection there. I didn't see the department really responding to the question that was raised by Lesedi, because Lesedi was saying, they're asking for support in terms of how they can leverage that grant, so that they can be able to generate revenue. By the way, let's congratulate you, Lesedi, for your funded budget. But if you are not being assisted by a department, you're not going to get to where you want. So I'll really suggest that there should be a more, purposeful intervention by the GPT. You don't have to do it alone as a GPT, but try and come up with maybe proposals to coordinate efforts between COCTA and yourself to assist Lesedi in terms of maybe drafting a proposal that then they can send to National Treasury. Whatever that needs to happen, I think we need to get support there. If support needs to come from COCTA, I think COCTA will probably come to you and says we are not wiser in terms of how to do this financial proposal. Why don't you come in and assist? So it will need an interdepartmental coordinating forum to be able to do so. I think when it comes to Mfuleni responses, Chair, honestly, I mean, there is no commitment from the Treasury to assist Mfuleni. I think we are clear that Mfuleni is in trouble in terms of all the metrics. I mean, they've passed an unfunded budget, which disqualifies them for debt relief, but GPT is not saying that we are going to really assist you to get this budget shortfall down, so that you can be able to meet your debt relief compliance requirement. So I don't know whether maybe I missed it, but I'll really want to see the department outlining some kind of a joint support plan that will help Mfuleni to restore that budget funding status, maybe as one of the steps that they can take towards really getting Mfuleni to qualifying for debt relief. So those are the issues that I've picked up, Chair, but what really bothered me was the amount of money that's owed to municipalities that the department seems not to have a plan on how we can be able to deal with that. And I really think we need to put our foot down there and insist that there must be consequence management from the political heads of those departments. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Member Tlhabela.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and good evening to honorable members and everyone in the meeting. I will not want to repeat what other members have said because I think I've been covered mostly by other members, especially Member Robinson, on number of issues, because I also wanted to find out of the 1.2 billion which the provincial debt across Gauteng, what portion is owed to Mfuleni, Midval and Lesedi separately, because I've also heard the MMC of Mfuleni indicating that the debt from health is not mentioned. But also, I would like to also further ask the Treasury, what steps are they taking to ensure that this department also expedite payment to these municipalities? Because I think we have been very unfair to municipalities. All the time we hammer them, and always we know that not that these municipalities, they don't have their own debt, but what is it that Treasury is doing to make sure that these departments also, especially health and education, also do their part in making sure that they also pay the municipalities so that the municipalities can also service their debts? And what other, I know that Mfuleni was in some kind of debt relief, and there was a portion, a second portion that was supposed to be cut or something like that from Treasury. Has the Mfuleni complied? And if yes, has that cut been implemented yet? Thank you.
Now, thank you very much, members, for all the inputs. I also wanted just to add, and maybe just to make a comment. At some point, DDG, you lost me. I think my constituency is in Sedibeng. Yeah, so I think for me is that we had such a session with West Rand, and you are giving us a totally different picture that the municipalities from the West Rand would have received or being prioritized rather than the municipalities that are really struggling here in Sedibeng. In fact, obviously, yes, we would have excluded the metros from this process when we started. So it's a totally different picture that makes, for me, I really wonder whether the department really wants to assist the municipalities in Sedibeng. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth. So I think that's the premise I'm coming from. I really would think that it's important that the work of the committee is taken seriously. It doesn't seem like there has been any effort. In fact, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, if we had had the meeting here with all these municipalities here would have seen how much work or effort and commitment you've put in West Rand. And they're just left to fend for themselves. It's a bad picture. I maybe also wanted, to get to you saying that the municipalities would have complied, with the requirements of the MFMA. I think maybe we should be given a picture. What was the picture and what would have made these municipalities to now comply? I think it's important to get that information. There's an emphasis on that, the municipalities, they have approved their budgets for 2025, 2026, and you're going to make, observations on the final budgets. You are putting an effort there, but there's nothing showing us how are you going to support them to make sure that they are, they're not going to pass or adopt unfunded budgets. Yeah, I think, yes, we want to accept the training support that we've given to, to Midval and in other municipalities. I think that is welcome. The fact that the committees and the officials and the politicians will also be given that opportunity. Training from Sekfaro. We do welcome that in the legislature. Now, I want to get to the monies that are owed by both the Department of Health and Human Settlement. Maybe let me start with health. With the SLA, I think we can't leave this meeting without a commitment to ensure that by a certain time, those SLAs should be signed. But also I want to implore, I think that Nzani will also give you an opportunity to guide us as the committee. I think there must be a hearing where we're able to convene the Department of Health and Human Settlement on SLA and on the monies that they're owed. We can't just leave it to the department now. But the departments must also respond to that. And we need to really, I think we must prioritize that. It must be urgent. Yes, we hear that the municipalities have got bylaws, they need to enforce them. But it can't be that municipalities are saying in the meetings that you had with them, they're being asked to tone down. Now we are talking left, but you're walking right, or vice versa. I think it's important. So I've mentioned the training with Sekfaro. Yeah. Member Ngobeni would have also said that you will need to bring a joint, support plan in the meeting where we're going to have those hearings. We will need to get that information, but it doesn't have to wait for that meeting. It really needs to happen in between that. Mfuleni has been owed for over 5 years. Lesedi is saying 10 years. There's a misalignment in terms of the budget. I mean, obviously, yes, it was a presentation that was made. I think there should have been an improvement on that presentation. It's really, it's like we didn't get anything out of this meeting. I really think that we need to improve. I'm specifically also, I think, maybe overworked by this meeting today in the presentation. This is the very same municipalities where I did a research, DDG. In fact, yesterday I had a confirmation that I will be given a doctorate of philosophy based on the research I made on these municipalities from Sedibeng. And the very same officials also participated in that research study. There's still quite a lot of work. So I'm saying as politicians, some of us are also trying to make sure that there is an improvement in these municipalities, but yet the department is not showing that. So I'm just saying really it's a disappointment for me on my side. But let's hear from you on how are you going to address these matters that have been raised now by the members.
Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you to the municipalities and members of the committee. Chair, I think it's really unfortunate that we only focus on the questions being posed to the Treasury. You know, the colleague sitting next to me, you know, there's a lot of work that we are doing within the municipalities. And I really, Chair, want to ask the committee to invite us to give a comprehensive presentation on what the Municipal Finance Management Branch is doing within the Treasury and doing to support municipalities. Chair, it might have come across that I'm fighting with my MMCs or disagreeing. But Chair, the MMCs will tell you, there's no bigger shop steward for municipalities than this team sitting here within the provincial government, Chair. Chair, just to give you an idea of our response commitment to the region. Last week, Monday, we were informed by Mfuleni that they were unable to complete their financial statements. Unable. We didn't waver, Chair. We went, our officials went into the municipality and assisted the municipalities to successfully finalize the Fs and submit it to the Auditor-General. In fact, we got a letter from the municipal manager extending his appreciation to the Treasury for the support that we'd given. Chair, this is one example of the support that we are giving to our municipalities. Chair, I certainly do not discount the fact that we owe our municipalities. And when I presented, I was very clear to say municipalities are budgeting for the revenue and the service payments that are due from the province, Chair. That I didn't discount, and I still committed to that we have an obligation to pay our municipalities. And Chair, the one thing that I want to encourage, there was a recommendation that came from Member Ngubeni about the presentation to this committee. I want to ask, Chair, that we actually need to have a joint committees of COCTA, Treasury, and even on the governance side, because I think for the committee to get a full appreciation of what we are doing to support municipalities, I think it's important that COCTA, Treasury, and SALGA in the province actually appears in front of the committee to give that presentation. You know, within the Treasury ambit, we talk about the 4 core principles to a functioning municipality. It is finance, service delivery, governance, and institutional. Now, Chair, as Treasury, we deal with a one leg on finance. But I think it's important that that comprehensive picture be presented to the committee. And I really, Chair, want to appeal that we do it rather sooner than later. Chair, I think it's important to recognize the concerns being raised by the municipalities in terms of the Department of Health and the Department of Human Settlements. It is evident that, you know, further strides need to be made. And I commend the committee for exploring the option that the accounting officers of those departments in whom the names of those accounts are actually drawn up. I mean, MMC Marco, when you send out a municipal bill, you are sending it to the head of Department of Health, the head of Department of Human Settlements. And I think it's fair, members, to ask those HODs to come and account to this committee. Chair, certainly as a debt management committee, you know, we created that structure as a conduit to try and mitigate, Chair. That committee don't have any execution powers. We can't, unfortunately, you know, go into a department and force a payment to a municipality. You know, we resolve on certain things, and we hope and we believe that the officials of the departments will come through on those commitments. In certain cases, it has worked well. In certain cases, it has not. And I certainly want to ask the committee that those departments that are owing municipalities must come and account to this committee. I think that's very, very important. Member Ngubeni, you know me from way back as the MMC of Finance in the city of Joburg. Certainly, MMC, you know, when we talk about municipal debt, and you talk about the categories of debtors, my reference was purely to say, you know, in terms of the composition of the debt to municipalities. And again, I make the comment to say we must pay what is due to our municipalities. And that goes for national departments as well. And I don't move away from that. Chair, the issue was asked around the ESCOM debt relief program. A lot of work that was done around the administration of that program. And to the point where 1.9 billion rand of that debt was written off because of the collective work that we had done. So that's significant, Chair, and that is the support that we are providing to the municipalities. Chair, as we are speaking, you know, we have technical hands-on support in Mfuleni municipality. In fact, we have more than one advisor providing technical support to Mfuleni, and we will continue, Chair, with that support to our municipalities. Chair, if I can go back to, I just want to start from the beginning, and my colleagues can add. Chair, there was a question raised around the Department of Education, and I indicated that Department of Health and Department of Education need to appear in front of this committee, and certainly, you know, that recommendation must be supported. Chair, and I think the point around these questions also need to be relayed to the other portfolio committees, the issue of intergovernmental debt, and how those committees are also dealing with this particular aspect. Chair, the issue around timelines and systems, certainly we continue to follow up with the National Treasury. I think the difficulty, Chair, is we are dependent on the National Treasury to come through in terms of a response. And certainly we continue to follow up with the National Treasury in terms of any matter that we raise with the National Treasury on behalf of our municipalities. Chair, there was a question asked about the MFMA section 71 subsection 7 in terms of the reporting. Member Robinson, just in terms of the MFMA, the first part of reporting is done by the municipalities within the 10 working days to the province. We then have the obligation to report to the National Treasury on the 21st working day of the month, a consolidated statement of performance, and that we regularly submit to National Treasury. We also, as you indicated, Member Robinson, have the obligation to publish the financial performance. And every quarterly publication is done in the format of a gazette that is published by government printers, and there's a gazette number linked to that publication. So that is how we make the performance of municipalities public through that legal process. Other provinces might not follow the same approach, but we believe it is a proper way of doing and revealing and publishing financial numbers. Then what we do, Member Robinson, we also then submit that consolidated statement of financial performance to the Minister of Finance, Minister of Kokta Salga, and to the Speaker of the Legislature. And we submit that on a regular quarterly basis to the Speaker of the Legislature. Maybe we can talk about the dynamics around how that should unfold, but certainly I can confirm to the committee that meticulously, on a quarterly basis, that report is submitted to the legislature. So I hope Member Robertson have answered the question around the regulatory framework. There was a question asked about there was a pertinent question asked about what are we going to do to arrest the situation of government debt. Now, at this present moment, there is thinking around restructuring the oversight of payments to municipalities in certain areas. And the one area that we are looking at targeting is property rates. Now, at the moment, it is a consultation process between the MEC and the Premier, but certainly, Chair, if we can take control of that. Now, annually, we are budgeting for municipal services, both property rates and municipal services, about 3.2 billion annually. If we can take direct control of property rates, it means that 1.2 billion will be taken control of by the Treasury. But we are consulting at the moment on that process. But it's a first step that we want to take to directly intervene on payments to municipalities. And certainly, Chair, I hope that the MEC at the right time will make pronouncements in terms of that, but that is currently just a policy discussion that has been raised between the MEC and the Premier at this point. Chair, there was an issue raised around the proposal of consequence management. Chair and members, you would know better than me that if accounting officers don't meet the requirements of the PFMA, and that is payments within 30 days. And that goes for both creditors and debtors in terms of municipalities. Chair, there was a question raised on questions. I don't know if maybe, Chair, if you'll allow me, maybe I'll ask Sipati, Peter, and Ntubwe also just to respond to some of the questions. But I'm also going to ask them, Chair, to share with the committee the work that these various units are doing in terms of supporting Sedibeng municipalities. Because there is a lot of work that's being undertaken by the colleagues that are sitting next to me. Sipati?
Thank you very much, DDG. I will just like to emphasize on the figures of government that which were presented by at the end of June. The debt was 93 million. However, a payment of 45 million was made. This 93 did not include the payment of 45 million, and also the credit balances, which were not allocated by the municipality of 33 million. For Lesedi, it was 5.8 million, and then the payment was 6.6 million. That means the balance was a credit at the end of June. And then also for Midval, it was 6.3, and the municipality received payment of 4.1 million. So those figures were not included in the balance of 1.2 billion, which was reported. Yeah, thanks very much. And anyway, the support which we have reported at Western, the same support was provided to all the municipalities in Sedibeng, like the tariff setting training. It was provided to the municipality, the budget workshops, which we indicated when we were at Western. It was also provided to the municipalities in Sedibeng, especially the ones who adopted the unfunded budgets. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Maybe just to also start on the issue of support, that in terms of the advisory support in the Sedibeng region, I think the DDG would have touched or indicated that the M-score, we had 2 M-score advisors, roving advisors, one dedicated for the entire Sedibeng region, assisting municipalities in this region, and then the other one allocated to the West End. So the DDG indicated that program, I think it just came to an end now, end of August. Internally within the department, we are still discussing on how we can maybe continue with the support program into the next financial year, and probably in the MTREF period. But over and about that, we do have what we call the Municipal Finance Hands-on Support Program, which basically is the qualified finance experts allocated. Currently, we have one allocated in the Lesedi, full-time, every day, based in Lesedi, 5 days a week, to provide support, particularly to the budget and treasury office in the municipality. Similarly, we had one in Mfuleni, but the resource, he resigned end of July, so he left the municipality effective end of July. But they've been there for 3 years. Their contract is 3 years, and I think it will be, the contract will be lapsing sometime next year in around April 2026. So it's just a demonstration of the kind of support that we're providing. And I think that DDG indicated those are not the only ones. There are other support resources that are allocated to the municipalities in this district through the National Treasury Program, which we call the Municipal Finance Improvement Program. Also including the district also, I think they are the beneficiary also of that particular support. So I thought I should just also indicate that part, but also indicate that one of the burning issues has been the issue of UIF and W. And I want to indicate that in collaboration with Salga and our colleagues from COCTA, we're doing a lot of work in capacitating the MPECs and the disciplinary boards in municipalities to be able to interpret and investigate where instances of UIF and W have been identified, and so that the necessary investigations are able to unfold, and then where there's a need for consequence management. Of course, the law is very clear, the legislation, it says the accounting officer of the municipality has to ensure that that process is followed and taken forward. So as Treasury, unfortunately, our hands are limited, our involvement is limited with regard to that, but we can empower the committees that are tasked with the responsibility of ensuring that there's proper investigations and whoever needs to be held accountable with regard to financial misconduct, such is able to be taken forward. So, and maybe the one last issue in particular relating to Mfuleni, about the support. I just need to indicate also to the members, probably they may be aware, that Mfuleni, we do have a financial, what we call a financial recovery plan in Mfuleni local municipality, which is really aimed at assisting the municipality to turn around. Not only on its finances. I think the DDG indicated the 4 pillars: governance, institutional service delivery, and health. So much as we're talking about the financial recovery plan, the focus is not only on finances. We're looking at other areas as well. And that's why we're working collaboratively with a number of stakeholders, including COCTA, MISA, Salga, and so forth. So that's the kind of support that we continue to provide in the municipality. And I must indicate we're working very closely with the municipality. And CFO in particular, it's our point of contact in many of these support initiatives. But we're working collaboratively again with our counterparts in COCTA and Salga. Thank you very much.
Evening, members. Perhaps maybe I'm not just trying to save some time. I think in principle, capacity building has been taken care of, trainings have been taken care of. Where we'll train in different facets in terms of GRAP compliance, in terms of financial reporting, IIA in terms of internal auditing standards as well. And some of the things that we do there, we're going to have an internal audit forum just coming on the 19th of September. And that we use as a platform to actually assist municipalities that doesn't have capacity in terms of internal audit to then actually sort of cross-pollinate with the capacity. We facilitate that. In terms of, I think we've made mention earlier in the presentation of bid committees and trainings, and as I said, let me just move over quickly over that. But also maybe just to mention the introduction of interim financials. So it's something that it's sort of from last year, we started sort of introducing the concept of interim financials. And we have extended our AFS review, so on a yearly basis, before the submission of the financials to the Auditor-General, We would then have a technical review that we performed before the submission, and we extended that through the accelerator program, and then we, with the intention of inculcating financial reporting as a daily and monthly discipline culture type, and that we introduced interim financials. Beyond that, there are municipalities that we have engaged with in collaboration with AGSA in itself, as these are municipalities that we believe that in the year 25-26, we can develop a definite critical path towards clean audit. And these are some of the things that perhaps, even if I can't go into detail, but I think the DDG spoke about potentially having maybe an elongated presentation at some point, and then we'll come with those. But I think in a nutshell, without going over elaborate in terms of capacity building and trainings, these are some of the things that we introduced in the local government space. And I think when I speak, when I say each and everyone who's here is a friend of mine, I'm not lying.
No, thank you very much. I saw MMC Marco wanted to make a follow-up comment.
Thanks once again, Chair. I just want to clarify something. I don't think any of us here from municipalities said we're not receiving support from Provincial Treasury. Each and every one of us that commented here said we do appreciate and acknowledge the support. However, the information that was provided, in as far as the government debt is concerned, to us was not an honest reflection. And secondly, Chair, it could be that we're barking at the wrong tree for asking what is due to us in the form of Provincial Treasury. But maybe as a committee, Honorable Ngobeni, looking at section 216 of the Constitution, and Chair, if you allow me, I can quote it. It says that the National Treasury must enforce compliance with measures established in section 216.1 to ensure both transparency and expenditure control in each sphere of government. The National Treasury may also stop transfer of funds to an organ of state if that organ of state commits serious or persistent material breach of those measures. And I think maybe as a way forward, because at some point in time, Honorable Robinson, municipalities were threatened with withholding of their equitable share for not paying a certain organ of state. If the committee is really empowered, then it must engage National Treasury to say that in the next tranche of the equitable share, please do transfer this particular amount straight to the municipalities. Then we'll see that indeed, when we come here, Honorable Musai, we are indeed taken serious. For now, we're still scratching the surface, and we end up accusing Provincial Treasury, who on their own have limitations in as far as enforcement is concerned. That will be my submission. Thanks.
Thank you very much. I think members for the contribution. Thank you, MMC, for those final words. We are going to consider that. We've taken all the recommendations. We've noted them. And we will have our own engagement when, as a committee on a way forward. Yes, the hearings that we want to have with the Department of Health, Human Settlement are important. We are going to do that. We will at some point also give you a platform to give us a comprehensive presentation. We had committed when we were at Westland as well. So that we will do. The recommendation for us to also convene a sitting with, joint sitting with other committees, whether it's COPTA, National Treasury, we will also be advised on how we can do that with SALD and all that. That we will be able to do. So that we address this issue of intergovernmental debt. I think we need to get to that. Yes, and I think as a committee, we also acknowledge that you do give support. But I remember, I think our concern is that maybe we need to make an example, and I'm going to agree with the MMC that, and with member Sedibeng, when he was saying, they both said that the municipality needs to be blamed when they fail on their own, without the GPT, being apportioned with the blame. Now, what we're saying is that you might be assisting with all these other and strengthening them with all these other support, but in the eyes of the public, if there is no change in terms of the impact on service delivery, and I think what the MMCs are saying that if there is a turnaround in terms of the budget on the money that is owed to them, they are willing to be able to show that they can improve in terms of service delivery. Now you're going to assist them, yes, and some will have unfunded budget or funded budget. You're going to assist them with clean audits and all that. It's both technical and administration. It's in the books, it's good, but in the eyes of the public, they don't care. It's for them, it's not tangible. So all that we're requesting is now, let's work on something that is tangible and see if the way we're to implement that, whether in the eyes of the public things will change. So on that note, really, I really wanted to say that, we might have been very hard, we are very hard on you, and we're not going to stop to be very hard on you. You are here, the others are not here, and we are going to bark at you. And I'll have a discussion really with the MEC as well. I really would need to take it up with the MEC. So the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, especially Chapter 7, it establishes local government, it is a distinct, interdependent and interrelated sphere. So it's not just an administrative arm of national or provincial government. And really the reason why we are here as the portfolio committee is because we understand that Gauteng Provincial Treasury has to render, capacity support services to all these municipalities. And municipalities are therefore your stakeholders. So it's really important for us to see that you do improve, there is that endeavor, for such an improvement, and you are able to account on the programs that you are providing to them. But we also are not here because we know we want to maybe, for example, blame you and all that. It's really in the spirit of cooperative governance, and that is the reason that why we're here. And we're hoping that you'll continue, to build that. You'll continue to give support to the municipalities. And I really want to thank you for setting aside your time. All of you, the MMCs, officials, I think we're not going to tire, and ensuring that the release is going to be work. I also want to thank the officials and honorable members for being here. So at this point, I think Member Ngobeni, you wanted to follow up? Sorry.
No, Chair, I think yours is the last wait, but I just wanted to re-emphasize, because we indeed, all those recommendations, we're going to consider them, Chair. But we do acknowledge that the department, on their report, they are saying they were able to recover 1 billion in June. And that was through their intervention. And money was paid to municipalities because of that. So we acknowledge that, and it shows that, with your interventions, there are results that can be, and that's why we are pushing that much on you, because on your report you managed to tell us that you did make interventions. And we want you to continue pushing for those interventions while we are busy coming up with other measures, the joint and Constitution, Section 216, and other things. But please continue pushing, get another 1 billion from those departments so that we can be able to pay these municipalities. Thank you.
No, thank you very much, Member Ngubeni. So we really want to thank you, and we are going to excuse you from the meeting so that we can deal with the rest of the business. But Tiamo, if you could just direct, we are inviting them for supper, isn't it? Okay. So yeah, she will show you where we're going to have supper, so that we can. So we'll have maybe 3 minutes break, members, so that we can go to the bathrooms and refresh whilst they are leaving the session. Thanks. Members, let's settle down. We just need 1 minute. We are not going to be long. So we can start. Members, let's start. Let's start. We're not going to be long. Tatensani, if you can take us through item 5 until item 10. No, and 11.
Thank you, Chair. In terms of provincial bills, Chair, we do not have any provincial bills before the committee. Hopefully, we'll have maybe the provincial adjustment appropriation bill in the next term. And then in terms of NCOP bills, we may also get the Division of Revenue Amendment Bill in the next term, which is from October to December. There are no resolutions before the committee, Chair. Once they have been received, they will be analyzed and then presented before the committee. Neither are there any petitions. In terms of correspondence, there's no correspondence and announcements. Chair will have indicated that she's going to be awarded a PhD the following year. And maybe just to indicate that today is Member Higlin's birthday.
Thank you.
And then the date of the next meeting, Chair, is tomorrow, same venue at 10.
Thank you so much, Chair. Members, let me thank you for all the contribution and your inputs in the engagement and the recommendations that you made today. I want to thank all the officials really for the logistics that you put into this and the work that you put in. I hope that you have a good evening. We'll see each other tomorrow. And those who are traveling, let them, and hope you travel back home safely. Thank you. The meeting is adjourned. You are invited for dinner.